Welcome to Weekly Open. My name is Brian. Got Don and Cred on the line today. I almost forgot people's names. I don't know. I guess I haven't had enough coffee, guys. Cred, you're on the left. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, doing well. Unlike the market, it seems, but still here, still kicking. No influencer scandals yet, so I consider myself lucky in that regard. But coming soon, TM. How are you?
Calling yourself an influencer at this time of day. What's your friend tech price even, buddy?
I have no idea. Too high. Anything above 0 is too high, I think.
Don, how's it going? You've had a good morning of boxing on the timeline.
Oh yeah, I mean, we talked about this in the pre-show, and I was like, I'm a little bit bored, and then Lecho was like, yeah, that's why you're dishing out, and that's exactly right. I'm a little bit bored, so I've been kind of getting old drama back to the surface, which is great. Love doing that. But no, doing all right. Just
enjoying yourself. You're the only one. Not due to the fighting. That's adding to the entertainment, but
yeah, I mean,
this is brutal.
Yeah, the market's kind of shit, and I'm kind of struggling because I really want to. Like, I feel like I want to trade. It's been a while, but I'm looking at the market, and this is also like every time before I make a video or like when we talk on this show, I'm like, what are we actually going to talk about? Like, everything just looks like shit. And that's what we could end up on, right? Like, you'd be like, everything is shit this week. Come back next week, and that's that.
We've been doing that for like 2 years.
Yes. So it's a little bit of a struggle, but it is how it is. We'll get through it.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to give us a rundown of what you are looking at with Bitcoin, and then we'll kind of tie in some legacy market and whatever else to it.
Yeah. So Bitcoin, like on the monthly, they're still in the middle of nowhere, right? It would be more interesting at 23K or even 20K than where it is right now. Or any off chance that would just moon would be interesting to kind of see how it reacts to 35K. Where it is right now, that's just boring. So there's nothing there. And then you look on the weekly time frame, and it's just been week after week after week of chop. And it's kind of bleeding downwards a little bit. I actually don't mind this too much. Like, I really disliked how the chart looked at 30, 31K, and when it broke down. This kind of slow grind down, I don't mind too much because this is what makes people very, very bearish, right? And for some reason, Bitcoin likes to reverse when too many people jump on the bear train. So I don't mind this too much. The problem is that, and this is something we'll talk about later, is that I'm not really on board with the whole S&P move. So I'm like, the S&P could retrace, and then what do we do with this, right? Because if you look at it in context, it's kind of shit. Because the S&P's high still, and Bitcoin's low. So if the S&P breaks down, there's a chance we break supports, right? So in general, when I look at the weekly time frame, I still think the only sane play to make is trying to get buys as close to 20K as you can. And then if you don't get any of that, and that's possible, right? Always possible that you don't get your bids filled, then it's more interesting above 30K. Anything in between is probably just going to chop the fuck out of you. And yeah, I'm itching to trade every day that goes by. Like, it feels like I should be in the market more. But I'm still waiting for like any sign that it would actually make sense. And
Can you stop talking? It's dumping, Don. I'm sorry to interrupt, but just move on or something. I'm looking at the 5-minute chart, and it's not liking this.
I was promised ETFs by now. What the heck is going on there?
Yeah.
Cred, you're a news correspondent. What's going on?
Sellers are selling more aggressively than buyers are buying, it would appear, which is unprecedented for the past
What about
few
the
months.
ETF stuff? Like, wasn't it a near certainty, and now it's disappeared?
I don't think it was. No, I mean, I know you're being tongue-in-cheek about it. Yeah.
I said.
Well, the Bloomberg guys, this is the thing, right? So I think people misinterpreted their predictions. First of all, they could be wrong, which is always a thing. But even within the context of what they actually said, they argued from the very outset that they think it'll get delayed and kicked down the can will get kicked down the road initially, and that approval will most likely come towards like the end of the year. So even if you take their words at face value, if you were kind of long expecting ETF approval with this kind of most recent batch, I think you sort of misinterpreted what they were saying. Don and I on other shows and whatever, Twitter and other places, argued that delay seemed most likely and is the most logical decision. And that made sense. And the market has just been such that any good news gets retraced very easily and has little impact, and bad news has a lot of impact. So stuff that should ordinarily be priced in and or shaken off, like a delay, wasn't, and we just dump as a result. So I don't know, maybe we still get an ETF by the end of the year, but God knows what price that would come at, and God forbid the ETF gets denied. I think that the market won't like that one bit.
Yeah, I will say the GBTC chart looks a good bit better than the BTC chart, just because it's been squeezing some of that premium out. ETH also looks significantly better than ETH. Or not squeezing the premium out, rather. There was a large discount that is now a moderate discount. That'd be accurate. So yeah, I don't know. Let's see, I've got ETH pulled up first. I'll share that with y'all. This one is down to a 25% discount to NAV. I'm assuming our chat is very clever and knows what this means. But essentially, the underlying assets are worth more than the price of the security. And then GBTC is, let's see, it's moved all the way to 17%. Lynn Alden has talked in the past about how a typical discount for a structured product can often be in the 8 to 10% range, just because of there's, I guess, less efficiency in the asset. So even when it's a normal discount, you can expect 8 to 10%. Both it's the efficiency, and then the other thing is the fee structure. So you're eating 2% a year, so it's kind of giving some forward value to those fees, I guess. So 8 to 10% should feel normal. These carried a premium for a really long time. Discounts are normal. 50 or 60% discounts that we hit are not normal. But we're pretty close to where it probably should be. Especially considering there's Barry risk in here too, isn't there?
Yeah. I don't get why you would want to buy it at 70% discount. Like at 40%, I get it, right? We talked about it back then. You were actually quite vocally bullish on it. And I got that trade, right? Like I totally understand why anyone would take that trade.
It's getting harder.
It's too close now. Like there's a lot of risk that I think people just underestimate, because at the end of the day, they really don't want this to be an ETF, right? Just from like a company perspective, because they lose a shitload of money when they do it. So you're kind of like betting on them working on something that doesn't benefit them. And then in general, just like for what, 10% seems a little bit shitty. I'd rather buy Bitcoin at that point. Then again, even I said the same thing at like 40% discount. So you can kind of gloss over my opinion, but Ledger did it really well. Like you were like vocally bullish at the lows, like at 40% discount. And you're saying the same thing as I'm saying. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I wish I'd done that trade with a more significant percentage of my portfolio. Just with what I have in those accounts, which is not that much. So still have some exposure to that, but it's just getting a little tougher now, especially if we end up heavy from the price of the assets themselves. So like from a relative trade basis, I feel very good about it, but yeah, not really sure what's next. Wasn't there some other news about Barry suing Barry or something? I don't remember who was involved. It was like Genesis, Grayscale. There was some big suit about like uncollateralized lending to Barry. Did y'all see this news article?
Yeah, they're just suing each other over GBTC related stuff, right?
Okay, but it's nothing new, really.
No, I expect that Genesis, Grayscale, and Gemini Polycule to continue suing the fuck out of each other with no super clear resolution. So yeah, that's kind of like a hangover from last year, essentially, that's still essentially unresolved, which is great.
Yeah, isn't it because they're like afraid, like the executives and stuff are afraid to go to jail if they don't? I've read
Basically, don't
some
do a
legal.
lot.
Yeah, like because they kind of like got themselves into a shitty position, and like if they don't sue each other, basically they put themselves at risk. But I don't know. Like I don't know who said that. Like a lawyer on Twitter, but I forgot which one. So don't quote me on that. But as far as I know, that's kind of like just to make sure that they're not getting fucked personally.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys care. I'm holding a diversified, uncorrelated portfolio of Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, 10 Inu, Unibot, Cbot, and a bunch of other things that Crypto Twitter told me were good investments. I haven't checked them in a while, but I'm sure I'm doing great.
That
Yeah,
shit. Don, you want to pull these up?
yeah. Unibot looks great.
Cred, or not Cred. D's every now and then will tweet the price of one of them, and he's just like, the price just keeps going down. I think he sold them early, missed the bump, and then bought them back. And he was like, "This is why I hate trading."
I can't believe I missed out on this. I feel sick to my stomach.
That you missed out on the long or the short, or yes?
Yes. No, I mean, I'm just memeing in general because, you know, people know that I like to focus on sort of BTC, ETH, and high cap alts, and they haven't been doing anything. So you'll recall, even on this show, we were getting memed on for quite a while for not being in these amazing landscape changing assets. So it's always fun to revisit them and see how things are going. And things are going, just not in the same direction.
Is this one Unibot?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is the one people made fun of us for saying
Correct.
was really stupid when it was on that left shoulder there, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then they quote tweeted me and like, ha ha ha, you idiot, when it was on the main high.
Yeah, but they sold the top ledger. That's how good
sure
reply guys are at trading. They sold the top, and you're just mad and seething. And Don and I are European, so we're completely unsalvageable.
Oh man, you guys are getting hit from all directions right now.
Yeah.
For good reason though. I get it.
Yeah, British people under fire as well, which is, you know, my fellow countrymen for their alleged altcoin escapades. So that's always fun to be a part of as well.
Yesterday, y'all were catching flack because I saw some picture of a window with like a lock on it, and I've never, like, a lock that prevents it from opening very much. And I had no idea what this was. And then I dug into the comments, and apparently you guys can't be trusted to open second story windows because you might fall out of them or throw a baby out it or something. Yeah, I was amazed.
I mean, like the key windows, like in hotels and stuff, are just so people don't jump out of them to suicide, as far as I'm aware. But
I thought this was in somebody's apartment. I'm just
maybe
random stuff I saw on the internet. Okay,
but this is actually something that's a thing like all over the world, though. Like they're afraid that people would jump out of their windows to kill themselves.
Listen, you need a new license in the UK to open your window for every extra 3 inches.
That's the way that I read it.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have like a 6-inch license, you're not going to make it in the summer.
Well,
so Unibot's down bad. What other meme coins are down bad?
Pepe, Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, 10 Inu.
Oh yeah, we can pull up Pepe because Pepe, there was strong opinions flying around on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Ledger called it over here, and I was kind of on board. As far as I remember, it went quite higher, but now it's lower, so we'll claim clout. I don't know, Craig, what did you say about it? Because I don't remember.
I probably said it might go up, might go down. Don't ask me anything. I'm bad at trading or something of that nature.
I mean, it both happened, so you
called it. Fucking nailed it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's down 43% from where we shit talked it, which is actually not that much. But it's down a lot from the top. Yeah, Pepe is down bad. That's a 85% decline. Good old bear market price action. What's the next one? We can go over them.
What was the only one I?
Oh yeah, there's Obama, Sonic, Inu.
Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, 10 Inu. Yes,
that's right.
Harry Potter, Obama.
This is your life right now, Don.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's not that bad. I mean, it's very bad, but
Don's bullish. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I don't call this one Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, I just call it Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin. Yeah, the ticker is Bitcoin. Wasn't that like a whole drama?
So base, to be honest. I love that so much. Like, I have so much respect for this meme coin, like unironically, just for that.
Yeah, I'm not like I'm actually on board. I mean, I'm never gonna buy this shit, but I do agree with you. That's kind of based. Isn't there one that's called Ethereum too? Like, isn't that the other one? Like,
Sure.
there's a new. They're gonna keep going down the list and make like Ethereum, and then Cardano's next. But yeah, good times. All down very bad, but all down like up quite a bit still. So
Solana.
Don, the Aptos one is the one that I remember that I actually called correctly.
Oh, yes.
The whole "it's over" thing, and that one continues to be down horrendously. I don't even remember what this coin does. Is this a layer 2?
Don't ask me.
It's layer 1, isn't it?
I don't know.
I
Chat,
think it's a layer 1.
inform us. It's a VC dumping ground, is what it is.
And this is where Ledger called it.
This is where Isaac Newton went in with size. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
But
bad.
it's quite crazy, right? Because I mean that one you nailed it basically, but it's down less than Pepe from the highs. Is what it is.
Sol, can you bring that up? That seems
Oh.
to be getting battered a little bit.
Well,
Yeah, oh,
their
that's
problem,
good.
that's another piece of news that we missed. But yeah, Solana's problem is they're talking about selling coins now, the bankruptcy group.
Yes.
I think this is really stupid, honestly, because the only reason that all the Gox people did okay or theoretically will do okay is because they essentially carried the risk of the coins throughout the process. And this bankruptcy group just wants the fees of processing it all, even though it's going to result in pennies on the dollar for everybody, rather than if they just like hand it in kind, basically. Like, I feel like people might have upside of the coin doing decently. If I only had 10 or 15 cents on the dollar, I would rather just get the coins a year from now rather than them selling, charging their fees constantly and taking the dollars out of it, and then you get back nothing at the end of the process.
Yeah, my brother was very upset when he learned that he's gonna get dollars back on his FTX claims, because he's like he had a bunch of money on Blockfolio, and he was like, "Oh, Bitcoin's up, it's great," and I was like, "It's not how it works, sadly." Yeah, it's a bit fucked up. Like that whole situation is so fucked up.
And there's some really good claims, like reasonable claims about whether they're spending an appropriate amount or not, and it looks like they're not. Up to, this was reported in August. I don't have mine up. Here we go. Up to 1.5 million per day reported just at the end of August is what they're apparently spending. And just as a percentage of like assets under management, they're going to drain all funds that exist through legal fees. It's like a double hit on the
Yes, but they also leak our data for free. So
right. Forgot about that. How many people were involved in that? It was quite a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just gross, to be honest.
Yeah, disgusting situation all around. Like you're getting, I mean, you're not getting all your money back, obviously, but then having like seeing this like complete waste basically is very sad. And then the worst kind of people get the money too, right? Like these lawyer types. Like imagine you kind of like your job is doing this, and then you take as much fees as you can. Like how shitty do you have to be? But that's just corporate anything really these days. Sad.
How's the metaverse doing? Y'all seen anything there?
Oh my god.
I don't even know the coins anymore. Sand was one, right?
That's what I had pulled up. It's down 96% off the top.
Oh, great.
But I'm just wondering, like, there's people out there thinking these still have a chance, I guess.
Yeah, they might be in the metaverse though. Like you have to be in an alternative reality to think that these are gonna do well. Yeah, I mean, this is down bad.
Yeah, but it's down 95%, right? So mathematically, it can only go down like 4.5%, 5%, whatever, and then it's a guaranteed bottom. So I don't know, guys. The risk reward is getting there.
This is gonna be our worst show yet. It's just going through the charts, and they're like, "Oh, well, everything's going to zero." It's great.
Remember on Cryptopia, you were like, "Oh, it's like 1 sat. It literally can't go below that." And then they introduced like Latoshi markets or whatever, and then it can go down another 99%. That was fun.
All right, let's be real here. Let's give everybody that has a favorite coin a chance to hate us. Like Doge looks like it's ready to leg down again, right?
Yes. I mean, that just looks garbage.
Yeah.
It's a descending triangle. I actually even have it on my chart. The
This might
descending
look worse
triangle.
than BNB.
Wow.
Is BNB broken down?
Donald Brandt.
Yes. But where's the support?
What's the measured move on that, Don? 0.
I mean, no. I mean, it's 40%, 50% down. Isn't this how it works? Like, I don't even know how to do measured moves.
Everybody, if you ever want to do anything fun with Doge again, you need Doge to go under a penny. Like, we can't have fun with this coin again until it goes under a penny.
I think we cannot have fun with Doge again, honestly.
No, you think it's just over, Elon?
Yeah, I legit think Doge is over. I mean, it's gonna have its time. It's gonna pump 2-3x again. I said the same thing. Do you remember when we talked about Pepe like a couple of weeks back? And I was like, there's gonna be a 2x pump, and people are gonna think it's back, but then it's probably gonna just bleed out. It's the exact same thing here. There's probably gonna be a 2x or 3x pump eventually down the road, but I don't think it's ever gonna make a new all-time high versus Bitcoin. And
who needs a new all-time high? It can go like 50x from a penny and still not hit a new all-time high.
Yeah, but I don't even think I don't think retail is gonna buy Doge again. It's like the Doge is actually dead, right? Too. Like I think the dog actually died like a couple weeks back. No, I'm not kidding. Like actually died, I think like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So it's like this whole thing, it just seems very symbolic. And I mean, rest in peace. I love that dog. So cute. Best memes. But yeah, I'm not thinking we're ever gonna make a new Doge all-time high in Bitcoin terms and in USD terms. And I think if you get a pump, it's gonna get aggressively sold into. There's too many idiots. Like the Dogecoin millionaire type still around, still hasn't sold,
and now has $1,000. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he went from what was it, like 3.5 million to I think it's his portfolio value is like 60,000 now.
And he kept it.
Yeah, he kept all the Doge. He didn't sell anything. He was even on mainstream media, and like some of the people on mainstream media were trying to convince him to sell, and he was just like, "No, you guys don't know what you're talking about." And then, yeah, but I think he made quite a bit of money on like shilling other altcoins.
What a legend!
Like he got so big during the bull, and then other projects would kind of come up to him and be like, "Hey, can you promote us as well?" And I'm pretty sure he took money for that, because otherwise he'd be like, he seems quite like not too smart, but he'd have to be really dumb to do these promotions without actually having been paid for it. So I'm thinking he made quite a bit of money off of his brand, but yeah, still down bad.
You just gotta, you gotta sell. You gotta sell sometime when you hit that type of win, guys. Come on. All right. Curve is already to the private sale price. It's at 40 cents. Does anybody remember the effect this had on the Curve guys liquidation?
I actually don't know how deep in the shit he is now.
I wonder if this is a story that's just making the rounds in DeFi land, or I don't know, but this has been down only for like 8 or 10 weeks since we started ignoring that story.
Yeah, I'd actually be interested. Does anyone have like when is he going to get liquidated now? Because he paid a bunch, right? Like he repaid a bunch.
I think it's a much lower now. However, all those 6-month lockers,
yes,
they're not so good. You can buy liquid now for that.
Do you really believe that a lot of these people actually lock their tokens?
Listen, Maki Big Brother is a bastion of crypto ethics.
Yes, we shall not say more for fear of legal repercussions.
I forgot about that.
I disavow my co-hosts and have I disagree with their opinions.
I said nothing bad about him whatsoever. I said he's a bastion of crypto ethics.
Yeah.
Same with Justin Sun and whoever else was on that list of counterparties.
I recommend no more news like this, Ledger.
Yeah. What about BNB in the scheme of? I mean, we just got a laundry list here of stuff that's not hot.
Look, it's falling out. Uh-oh.
Is it?
It's actually falling out.
Here, let's do your chart. It's got that green box.
Yeah, but the green box is not holding. Look, it's leaking.
Yeah.
Fuck.
All right. Where can we
Well,
show this?
Don't.
How can
Yeah, no.
how can we finally declare a bottom on this show? We have to do a live short or something like for so long.
Yeah, short BNB on Binance, and after you get a brick thrown through your window and doxed publicly, then maybe something.
I like that.
What's the target here?
I mean, the realistic target or the like, where's the next support? Because the next support is literally down at like 40, 50, which would be quite a bit. Realistic, I think, if Binance doesn't go under, which let's assume that's not going to happen, I think like 130, like somewhere in this region here, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real technical support, but that just seems like
spot in the middle of that elevator.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on the lower time frames, and there's probably going to be some consolidation.
I've missed a lot of.
Oh, look at that! I knew it.
Look at that.
Yeah,
missed a lot of opportunity over the years, like wanting the full version of that move. Well, like Cred and I were talking about that with Solana back when everything was going down, and we were talking about $4, and he was like, "Yeah, I think it looks good at $8."
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, Ledger, I didn't buy a single Solana
I
after
know, but I'm
calling
still
it, so-
trying. I'm still trying to give you credit on that because I didn't.
Don't. It's undeserved. My imposter syndrome doesn't allow it. But thank you.
But it was the same type of thing where like it had this massive elevator on the weekly, and you zoom in, and there was a lot of activity on a 4-hour or daily chart or something in that type of range. So that's a realistic target. What price level was that?
This is like 130-ish on BNB, right, Don?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if BNB is real and there's not like unbelievably bad stuff hidden behind the curtains, then maybe there's a target still in the triple digits.
I don't want it to break down in the first place. I think that'd be quite bad in general. So can we do whatever illegal things and any amount of launch pads necessary to keep this thing afloat, please?
Can you launchpad BNB itself?
I mean, the thing is, like, if you told me like I could buy BNB for like when it's trading at 130 for like $100 and it's locked up for 6 months, I would not take that trade unless I can properly hedge it. Obviously, like there's no way that I'm gonna buy BNB. It's just no matter where it goes, it either goes so low that I will not have any confidence that Binance is okay, or it just like doesn't go low enough to justify the risk. Like for me, I'm literally there's no way that I'm gonna buy BNB. I just don't see the
Finance
point.
police are behind you. I hear them.
Right? Yeah, there have to be more creative ways. Like, for example, if you don't buy BNB and tweet it, they will just dox you in your tweet replies. That would be a very effective campaign, I think.
I mean, that might work. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's listening.
The market's been dumping the entire time we've been talking. Just by the way. Are we going to have that?
Cases.
We got this question in the chat. Are we near one of those like 20% down day type of potential?
Feels like it. I think it feels like it. I don't know. Like grindy consolidation, wick. You know, if the at a certain point you get a bigger print from, you know, if it prints there, it'll trade there, as the meme goes. I wouldn't be terribly surprised. And part of the reasoning is there's nothing from a technical, structural, whatever point of view terribly compelling at 25, but there's a lot of compelling stuff the closer you get to 20. So I would welcome that move purely from a trading perspective to get us out of sort of miserable zero vol land and away from the shitty levels into something a bit more palatable, you know? But yeah.
And Cred, do you agree with Don in the sense of you start?
No, never. Sorry, go on.
You start getting interested in a trade around 20K or
something like that. Yeah, there's there's a lot of overlapping structure around, from 23 to 20-ish on the monthly, on the weekly, that you start to get somewhere. So that kind of stuff is interesting, but sort of 3 weeks, 4 weeks of wicks and grinding, I don't want to be on the wrong side of that. So
yeah, Vibes in the chat's asking us about some layer 2 stuff like OP, Matic, ARB ecosystem.
Ugh.
Do any of that interest y'all at all?
I mean,
No.
the high cap stuff has just been bleeding. The entire alt market really has been bleeding, and we don't even have the narrative outliers anymore. And whatever narrative outliers we have had have all been sell the news. So I just don't really see the argument. And centralized exchange high cap trading in general has just been dead / bleed only. I mean, ARB is down 8% for some reasons. That's a bit of an outlier to the downside. That looks like total shit. I mean, Matic is at the lows, and OP.
Yeah, they're all bad.
It's just
I'm
been
looking-
bleeding
I'm
for like
pulling it up.
6 weeks or something. Yeah, it's not good out there. I don't know.
I mean, I just look at this chart. This is the state of it. This is the state of it. We can add some more now that we're down here.
Look at all those red weeklies, though. Good gracious. What is this, AVAX?
Yeah, it's AVAX.
BTC.
Yeah.
This isn't even AVAX UST. This is AVAX relative to Bitcoin, which hasn't exactly been a great asset.
Yeah. I mean, it's down relative.
All right, Don, they're really coming after you now. You got Jason Bourne in the background.
Yeah, they're being aggressive. I need to shut up. But yeah, it's 85%, 86% down against Bitcoin alone, and it's really not that good looking against the dollar as well. Like, it's broken long-term support just now, basically, like the last 2 weeks. That is down 94% against the dollar. That was hailed as one of the best ones.
It looks
just
like
a couple of months ago.
Yeah, why is AVAX your barometer for this, Don? Surely there's like some cringe total market cap thing you can use.
Oh, I was basically like, I put this bottom signal thing on when I was like trading here, and people were like, I don't even know why I did this one, but basically it crashed, and then I was like, okay, I'll just keep this going because why not? And I shit talked AVAX, and the AVAX people came after me, so I kept on. Every time I saw it, I kept on adding some bottom signal things, and then it's just funny. Now it's a funny chart with a little bit of history. I think they're all the same at the end of the day. Like, AVAX isn't an outlier. It's just
right.
This represents the entirety of crypto, at least the altcoin space. ETH is doing a little bit better, but everything else just kind of looks like this.
Yeah, a lot of these alts have legit 6, 8, 10 red weeklies in a row, and they're not even accelerating, which kind of makes it worse, if anything. So, that's kind of the core argument to your earlier point, Ledro. A kind of rip the Band-Aid off candle would be quite welcome, because it's at least somewhat more preferable to weeks of bleed from a trading perspective, at least.
Well, why don't we use the latter quarter or so of our time to talk about assets that actually look strong, like the dollar.
Helpful.
No, you go out of crypto. You're like, let's look at something that doesn't look like shit.
Sorry to the chat that was hoping for good news on crypto prices, but we don't have proof of it yet, even if it is bottom signals, as Don's chart shows. There's not a lot of evidence there. However, in the traditional market, the Dixie's been incredibly strong. This is a weekly chart, 2 months straight of up only, and kind of made higher highs relative to the last year plus of price action. And we'll see if we're in for a larger correction here, or if it's just kind of chilling until further upside. But definitely been very strong lately, and at the same time the S&P and other indexes have done very well. But when you look at a monthly chart, especially a weekly chart, the S&P might be showing some signs of unwillingness to go make all-time highs, which is pretty much the only thing left. Does this give y'all additional pause if we see a retrace in traditional markets? The NASDAQ's basically the same thing, kind of sitting up there with this second leg, maybe another lower high, and then under prior all-time highs. Y'all think we're potentially in for a correction on that side of things as well?
Kind of feels like it. I don't really have too much alpha on the traditional markets, but it does feel like it. I think it seems unrealistic to go back to all-time high, but that could just be the mid-wit take. But to me, when I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, does this make sense to risk a lot in crypto right now if the S&P is basically back at all-time high, even though we're like the world economy isn't doing so well in general. Seems a little bit odd, but then again, it's literally, I think, the mid-wit take. And if that plays out, we're in deep shit. Like if the mid-wit starts winning, we have some problems.
Well, if the mid-wits start winning and I'm not going with them, then I'm the mid-wit that still loses. So I don't.
Yeah, it almost doesn't matter at this point as far as risk indices go, because they don't help us; they only fuck us, and it looks like we don't need their help to get fucked. We do a completely fine job of that ourselves. So I'm not sure we're finding any allies there anytime soon. Although it would help. It'd be a useful kind of reversal signal. Like if you put charts aside and simply looked at news plus correlations, if we get to a point where bad news stops nuking us and good news actually provides a bid for more than a day, and as far as legacy stuff goes, we either pick up and play along with the sort of upside for more than a day and the downside we're more immune to. Just those two things would be quite good evidence of a somewhat of a meaningful reversal in flows. But for the time being, if the S&P goes up, we don't care. If it goes down, we either go down or don't care. So there's no kind of symmetry upside trade to be had. And the news flow is as heavy as ever. So I kind of look at legacy. And the only conclusion I come to is, what the fuck am I doing? But as far as sort of helping plan crypto trades off of this thing, I think most of that alpha is gone, to be honest, at least at the moment.
Yeah. In a pure legacy sense, I do think that the thing that's most relevant and going to be most impactful continues to be rates. U.S. yields are ridiculous. Like this 30 years has been and continues to be one of the best looking charts I've ever seen. And looks like it just has complete tolerance to go higher. That puts strain on absolutely everything from a lending environment perspective. Affordability, if you look at, either inflation or stagflation, looks a lot more like stagflation is the play. It continues to impact that. Blending in with it, oil having this strong recovery. I'm not sure if y'all been paying attention to that, but $87, $88 oil, which is well off the lows.
Is Biden rebuying, or is it?
Well, the inventories have had this like record drawdown over the last 2 months, and this is what critics of the whatever that strategic petroleum spot, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, the reserves. They drew down those reserves, and now there's no oil, like because they drew down the reserves to impact the price in the short term, and now there's a chance that you have a massive supply problem, as in too much demand. So I don't know if that's going to stick or anything. It's out there. So like if you start impacting people, at the pump, and then also their student loans are being repaid, and also interest rates are higher. It's like there's a lot of stuff out there that can really create challenges on the inflationary side. And I don't know. I've said for quite a long time I thought that we had a good opportunity for stagflation, but I don't know if I'm prepared to know what that actually feels like. Doesn't mean I'm ready,
No, I don't think anyone's really ready for this kind of shit. I mean, it's not great, right? Like in general, everyone does better. If everyone does better, everyone does better. So this kind of situation, like when people are struggling, it's just not good for anyone, I think. And you can try to make use of that in markets somehow, but it's really difficult. Like it's so much easier when it's just like you have free money and you can just throw it at everything, and then you just make a bunch of money. I think in general, the markets feel like they're gonna get more like harder to trade, basically. Like the whole just look at GME and at the AMC stuff, right? AMC fully puked all the way down. GME is quite a bit down from where it was. Like that's the kind of gambler in the markets. That's how they're doing, right? And they moved on from GME and all of that other stuff into the other markets, and I think they're hurting just the same. So it's kind of like it's a weird situation where it's really hard to bet on upside. Like my brain is telling me just stay the fuck away from any market for quite a while. My heart wants to trade, so we'll see how that turns out.
Robin said, I was half expecting a real estate chart on the stream, and then Vibes asks, could commercial real estate problems cause a bailout and money printer to turn on? Robin, when I showed that rates chart, that's all you really need to see from a real estate perspective. That puts massive pressure on real estate of all types, residential and commercial. And then vibes about commercial real estate. If anything, we're seeing the opposite, where it appears rising rates affects speculators and developers and people like that more than it does residents, even though it affects both. But if you have 5 Airbnbs or something and you're paying for them and you're having to roll interest or whatever, that affects housing affordability in an area. So if speculators are getting squeezed on their short-term rentals, then you might actually present a price opportunity for regular people to go afford housing. I think that's the general thought, but I think it would take much more to encourage a bailout of real estate.
Yeah, Bitcoin didn't really like your soliloquy there, Ledger. It just took another poke lower.
Still nosediving. Oh yeah. Well, it's only 2% still. It's not too bad, Cred. You're zoomed way in here.
Of course.
The 5 minute.
That's how you get volatility, Ledger. The hack they don't want you to know. Just go on the lower time frame.
Yeah. Well, it does look bad. And even if Bitcoin recovers, this is the biggest impact that you have on this every single time is alts are going to take 3 or 4x the move, but not have the recovery.
Thanks. That's great.
Yep. I mean, that's the story with the altcoins, and I think the altcoins in general, just narratively, still make very little sense. I've been saying it for weeks. I still maintain that view. Like, what's the actual narrative for like altcoins to go crazy here? Like, who are you gonna get to buy your bags? I cannot come up with an answer. Right? It's really, really hard to figure out who's gonna buy your shitcoin that is worth 0.
Especially compared to who wants out, and the answer to who wants out is almost everybody. Especially people with locked stuff, VCs, like all of those coins with the high market caps and the long unlocks they hit their unlocks in bear markets, and yeah.
And then you're kind of like people want money now because everyone's hurting a little bit, and then they want out. So if you get a pump, people are gonna sell into it. Knowing that, like, who's going to pump your coin. If anything, if a new coin comes out, you know that you can kind of calculate who's back holding and who's not, like, as in like who got into the pre-sale, who got into all the early stuff, and then you know who can dump on you, and that's a different story, right? That's why we've been seeing like some of the new coins go up, because there's much less risk, even if you're like in it to pump and dump, right? Like, imagine you're trying to pump and dump Litecoin, right?
As you've done several times, Don.
of course. But like, what are you gonna do? Like, you pump it $5 and the bag holders are gonna show up and be happy to sell into you, right? And that's why you see all these new shitty coins. Yeah, exactly. These new shitty coins do it because there's limited back holders. You still have to create them first, and that is happening all across the board. And then they make a new coin, and this keeps on going until everyone's bled dry, and then you don't have anyone left trading the altcoin markets, which leads to lower prices. It's just how it is.
Do we have any good news to end this on?
I mean, I still think like Bitcoin looks better than it looked for quite a while. Still looks very, very shit in my opinion, but it looks much, much better than before. Like, maybe if the S&P doesn't perform too poorly, this is actually just a washout before we get a little bit of a bounce. But I mean, I'm still not positive. I'm just not as bearish as I was before. So I mean, that's at least something. Don is not as bearish as he was before. Still bearish though.
Yeah, the next line on your chart is at 18K or something. That's very reassuring.
Yes, I mean, there's no supports. I mean, there's just nothing.
Son, I realize you want to be an NFL player one day, but you are still terrible at football. You just aren't as terrible as you were last year.
Exactly. I mean, that's good news, no?
Yeah, the good news is we're all like unemployable, so you can't leave anyway. So you might as well have a jolly old time.
All right, so we're trying to open our minds to market opportunities to buy.
Oh, but one thing is that we're actually like I still think we're very, very likely to get the ETF down the road. So if it nukes, maybe that's a great opportunity to buy. At least for short-term pump. Like if actually like if the ETF gets approved and we're chilling at 20K, you might be able to sell at
That's the
30K
bottom.
again.
I
But
think if that happens, it's the bottom.
yes,
I
but
think the passive flows for ETFs are pretty severe, in a good way, and yeah, especially if it doesn't. Like some people will say, well, nobody wants to buy this anyway, but when it does turn around, like not only will people want to buy it, but also they will have all the avenues to buy it. And I think you'll see significant positive liquidity impacts on Bitcoin, and I presume Ethereum as well would follow up pretty quick on the spot ETF side of things. And that's significantly different than either like GBTC, ETH, because can't redeem them, all the flaws of those, or also like the Bitcoin futures products and stuff, which have carry issues in their paper. They're not real assets. So
yeah.
I think the impact of the ETF on a bull market is really strong.
Yeah, we just have to survive until then. Binance cannot scam us. And
well, the thing is, like, if the ETF gets approved, you buy. But if the ETF gets denied, you also buy. Just do it a bit later because the market will nuke to such insane levels. You kind of have to and hope that the industry isn't dead. So it's a pretty straightforward decision tree. Like ETF buy, ETF denied, buy, but just a bit later. So
Fred is saying buy. That's
just not here. I don't really have anything compelling here. But we should really pull this show because the market is not a fan. These 15-minute candles, which is the lowest time frame I look at, are not particularly
the lowest or the highest.
Yeah, no, 5 and 15-minute are my sort of podcast
we're doing
co-host time
candle
frames.
into our screens thing right now.
Don, your support on my screen. So
yeah.
Oh, well, that's shitty support. I'm sorry.
We apologize for any and all that we've impacted if some whale is watching this and dumped because Don is so bearish.
Well, it's just how it goes. I'm less bearish is what I said. I'm still bearish, but less bearish. It's not my fault. Well, I think that's it. I don't think we can talk much more.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. You can hit the like and subscribe button. We need up only in subscribers, if not in price. I don't know why. We have no real reason for it, but it's fun. Good to see you. Cred, Don, thanks for coming on. Chat, thanks for participating. You were fun today. Everybody have a great day. Good luck out there. Stay alive. Bye-bye.